Hey you guys, it's Anna. Hope you guys are having a great start to week 5. I have heard from many of you, some good things, some not so good things, but that's honestly the reality of this business. And I'm loving the accountability piece that you guys are, doing because I think it really helps to stay plugged in. I can promise you, if I didn't have Kara and I didn't have Sarah to bounce things off of, it would be very, very hard. And so there's always strength in numbers. I always say 2 is better than 1. So, before we get started with personal development, honestly, I know I said social media was probably my favorite topic to, talk about, but I'd have to say that this is it here. This is, for me, where all the dots started to connect and all the stars started to align, because I really feel like this is the missing ingredient for everybody that does this business. And I'm just truly speaking from experience when I say that my business did not grow until I decided to grow myself. And that was, overcoming things, that was healing from things, that was, getting out of my own way in things, and really doing a lot of assessing with myself because I always was really good at making excuses. And so before I do jump into my training portion, I do want to take a quick second to just touch real quick back up on the follow-up portion and the reach outs. I know we did a while back on the facts and recruiting, and I maybe needed to be a little bit more clear. Guys, because I say 7 to 10 days with your follow-ups and things, that's if the person responds. If the person does not respond to you, be a little more respectful of them, and just also be respectful how you're approaching them and how you're responding to them. But you guys, I always say fortune is in the follow-up. And, if they don't respond to you, 5 or 6 times, it's okay. You can't take anything personally. If you feel like you're not the kind of person that wants to do that, that's okay. But don't be sad when they sign with someone else. I always tell people it takes, most people 5 to 7 touches before they're going to do anything. And so it is our job to follow up. And, if that's something you're fearful of or you're not, into doing, again, don't be sad when they're a preferred customer or consultant under somebody else because you weren't persistent enough in that department. But follow back up with the facts on recruiting, and just be mindful, guys. Use common sense and good judgment on how to reach out to somebody and how to follow up. If you haven't talked to them since 5th grade, you're probably not just going to plaster the business in a message. You want to connect with them first. You want to build that relationship again. Then you'll plant that seed. Okay, you're planting seeds just by reestablishing that connection, and then you're going to sprinkle in RNF when it's the right time. And then the same thing goes, as following up with those people that you're reaching out to. You guys just use common sense, and if you're struggling with what that looks like, by all means, ask for help. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that. And then as far as personal development, you guys, one thing I've understood is that, personal development is a lifelong process, you guys. And really it's helping us, kind of assess what our skills are, what our qualities are. It helps us to sit down and make goals, and it helps us aim towards things that we maybe never thought that were possible. But I will tell you, I think that's probably one thing in this business. Yes, the training calls are important. Reading books are important. Having a mentor, things like that. All of those things are important. Staying plugged into the team pages, you guys. But it really ultimately starts with you. And I will be the first one to say that I have read many books and that I have done many training calls and I hear things, but none of it ever started to help change me until I made that decision. And so I just want to encourage you guys. You can read a gazillion books and you can listen to 90,000 training calls until this and this aligns. Guys, it's going to be really, really hard because you're going to eventually find something in your path, whether that's fear, whether that's rejection, whether that's failure, that's going to hit you and knock you down again. And how do we respond to that? How are we going to continue to grow ourselves so those blows to the face don't continue to knock us further and further down? And that was something that I didn't respond well with. I didn't know how. And that wasn't until I finally decided to take a little bit of personal inventory. And this is something I really try to do every single month. And I started doing it about 3 years ago because I was tired of being at the place that I was. I was tired of not making progress forward. And I'm not just talking in the business, I'm talking about every aspect of my life. And so I'm going to walk you through just a little bit of what that looks like. So the first question is, what does my life look like right now? Like, am I happy? Am I finding myself depressed? Am I, stressed out all the time? Am I uncomfortable? Am I unhealthy physically, mentally, spiritually? Am I grieving something? So what does your life look like right now? That's something you need to ask yourself, because believe it or not, it affects your business. How do you feel right now? Do you feel like you're not making progress? Do you feel like you're running around the same mountain and you find yourself at the same place all the time? Ask yourself why. Like, why are you there? Are you surrounding yourself with the wrong people? Are you, struggling with being self-absorbed, whatever that might look like, okay? How do you feel about your physical appearance? I know Sarah Reinecke mentioned in her training a little bit about taking care of yourself. You guys, it's huge. We have to value and feel like we're worth it in order to visit with people, in order to make them understand why we love what we do. So how do you physically feel about yourself? What frustrates, what's the most frustration that you have going on in your life right now? Is it the way that you handle things? Is it the way that you always quit? Is it that you respond out of anger? What is your frustration with yourself? Guys, these are hard questions, but they're things that you absolutely need to answer. The next one is, what can I do better? I know, Kara, this is something you and I talked about a lot. Like, we're constantly asking each other, how can we get better? How can we improve? Guys, you have to have a teachable spirit. I know Sarah mentioned this in her video as well. You have to want to be able to be taught. You will never get to a place in your life where you have arrived. You have to want to be teachable. And in turn, you guys, just knowing that you can learn from others is going to truly help you excel. And so what can you do better, guys? Can you plan better? Can you stop letting excuses win? What are those things that you can do better? Is it that you need to shift some things around in your schedule in order to have better balance? Where can you be better? Okay. How's the quality of your life? Is it an ebb and flow roller coaster all the time? Or is it pretty even? Do you feel like you have tons of highs and lows and highs and lows? Or do you feel like there's a lot of consistency, with where you are? Guys, these are all important things because they do affect our business. How are your relationships going? Believe it or not, guys, we are relationally oriented and we are driven by other relationships, whether that's friends, whether that's a spouse, a significant other, a daughter, a son, a mom, a dad. Guys, if our relationships are struggling, it's also going to affect our business. So how do you feel like your relationships are going? Your career, how's your career going? If it's hard to be at work, it's going to stress you out. It's going to, take a toll on you. So how's your career going? If your goal is to be home, how are we going to map that out to get there? What about your finances? These are all things, you guys, that we hate to ask ourselves because it's hard. But to me, that's right there the definition of personal development, is actually taking that inventory, checking in with yourself, and being able to move forward. How is your friends? How is your peer group? How are the people that you hang around with? Are they good influencers? Are they encouraging you? Are they constantly putting you down? Are they caring about you? Understand that the people that we surround ourselves with are who we start to shape to become. So that's a really big deal. The last one is how are you doing mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? This is something I teach a lot at the university when I was there, about the dimensions of wellness. We have physical, we have mental, we have emotional, we have spiritual, we have intellectual, and we have environmental. Those are 6 components to our health. And I hadn't realized what a big deal those components played in my life. And I always tell people, you can't drive a car if it has 3 wheels, right? So if one of those 6 dimensions of wellness is off, it's affecting something in our life is off balance. And so I just want to encourage you guys to take some self-inventory, really see where you're at. You might feel silly and it might seem like a dumb exercise, but I promise you, these are where you're going to see the gains. And you may think, how does this have anything to do with Rodan and Fields? But I will never steer you guys in the wrong direction, because I know exactly what it felt like to be, writing stuff down, in this this notebook and working through these things that were affecting me, because it affects our conversations, it affects our confidence, it affects our worth, it affects our purpose and what we're supposed to be doing. It affects how we handle objections in our business, how we approach people, because we're so unsure of who we are, where we're headed. And so I wanted to take a second to really encourage you guys to take some inventory. Check out where you are. If you want to send me it, I would love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. And then write out where you want to be. Where do you want to be in, 2 months? Where do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you want to be in a year from now? Start mapping out what that looks like, you guys, and really start growing yourself, okay? Map out what your fears are. Map out, the things that you really, really struggle with. And if you don't know how to connect the dots to work through those, again, I would be more than happy to assist any of you or plug you into where, you can get help, because you can't do it on your own. So I just wanted to encourage you guys, and more so just know that it's a process, and this business is very much a process as well. And you just got to trust in it, but you got to do the work. You got to be willing to kind of dig your heels in and do, the dirty part. The second thing I'm going to leave you guys with tonight is about an 8-minute video, and it's called "What is My Purpose?" And I absolutely love this video because I feel like we a lot of times don't know what our purpose is and how we overcome things and what we're meant to do on this earth. And I want you guys to take a listen and get a couple nuggets out of it and see what you can do with that video moving forward. So I am rooting all of you on. If you have any questions, let me know. And I'm super excited, to continue to work with you guys. Have a fabulous week, and God bless.